You are listening to I Am Refocused Radio with your host, Shamaya Reed. This show is designed to inspire you to live your purpose and regain your focus. And now, here's your host, Shamaya Reed.
Hey, welcome to I Am Refocused Radio, man. We're here once again. Man, today we have another awesome guest. We're going to talk to an amazing person. I mean, this guy, you know him from countless movies and TV shows. The one and only Issei, formerly known as Kiko Ellsworth. He is an American film and television actor. First and foremost, sir, I want to say welcome to the show. Thank you for taking time to be with us.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure being here, and I'm happy to be here, brother. Thank you so much.
And man, we're going to unpack like your career, but also we're going to talk a little bit about just everything that you do, man. You have master classes. You obviously are working on a project that will be coming out in 2023. But man, I was thinking about today's topic, lifelong learning. So start us out, man. What inspired you to start your acting career, and what was the main thing that made you say, you know what, I'm gonna go for this thing?
Oh, that's a great one. Because I was lying to myself and I had stage fright, and I hated that part of me that was afraid on the stage. So I was on stage. I had pretty much gotten forced into acting. My friends kept hounding me, and I basically ended up on this stage on a showcase night with these producers and directors and stuff like that to kind of see the talented people of that class. And, I remember being on that stage and it was like someone was choking me. And I got out the stage. I gave my little fake smile when I was done. I got out the stage and I was really disappointed in myself. I was really disappointed in myself because I wasn't being truthful. I wasn't being the true version of myself. And I got clamped up in that fear. And I said, all right, it's on. I'm taking this on. I'm gonna face this fear face to face. And that's how it all started for me.
And I mean, you make it look easy because you speed up to today. You have a lot of not just movies, but TV shows on your belt. Were you also involved in commercials and all that? Like, how diverse is your portfolio?
Yeah. So started off just acting, but then it actually grew into pretty much every other area. The acting in front of the camera, so soap opera, then there was, film, then there was on theater, on the stage, then there's radio, voiceover, then there's video games as well. Then I went behind the camera over the years more and more I wanted to learn how to create projects, so I started learning editing, how to shoot with the camera, producing, writing, directing. So I've dabbled into everything, and then I've just come full circle now after about 2 decades of it, and just basically bringing it all together now with a higher purpose that serves with the programs that I do with the coaching and things like that.
Yeah, I do have to ask this question. It's going to lead up to my main question about the entertainment industry. What were some of the ups and downs working in the industry? And before you answer that, I want to tie that with what was your experience like working Bad Boys 2, man? I mean, that's an epic movie. Everyone loves that movie.
Yeah, I love working on it too. The ups and downs. Let me say, the ups with the entertainment industry is that I think the experience for me, it's been the vast experience in playing a multitude of different roles. Getting to know all these different aspects of myself, because I believe that we're all like equalizers, and we all have the same emotions, but mine might be a little set to lower here. Yours may be a little set to higher. But we all are tweaked a little bit differently. So when I got the ability to explore these different characters, it was really just exploring these different aspects of myself. And without having to go out there and live these different lives, really, it was like I was doing it on the screen. So that was like, I think one of the best things for me is that sort of spiritual growth. And really as a man, getting as an actor for a man, it's always okay to access your emotions. Now, in real life, a lot of us men can get stuck in accessing our emotions. So like one of the best things for me as a man was getting acquainted with my emotions, the pain, the crying, the anger, like learning how to access these emotions and have it be okay. Like I got really good with that. So those are some of the best things, the highs with the entertainment industry. And I think the low, for me, most definitely was the fact that, when I was in the entertainment industry, the first half, like up until 2010, doing all the Bad Boys 2, the shows, in that era, I had no idea spiritually who I was as a man, as a divine being. And what the entertainment, in my experience, what the entertainment industry does is it just magnifies what's really there. And, that's what ultimately broke me at that point, back in 2009, where I just really had my lowest point, was because I had no spiritual foundation and everything I was doing was magnifying that. And so I was just going further and further off track with no North Pole within inside of me to tell me, okay, you're getting a little off track, come back to home. And so when I left the entertainment industry after that, 2010, and then the next 10 years and really got a hold of my spirituality, I found my own North Pole. And then going back to it like around 2021, when, I started getting different types of offers and things like that for films, it just magnified what was there. And that kind of led to another high point on the set, which was, being able to, like, when you are at peace with yourself as a woman or a man, and as an artist, and to be able to go back into the fire, like the chaos, the turmoil of like the entertainment industry. There's a lot of drama that's happening. There's a lot of egos. There's a lot of divas. There's a lot of different stuff. Good people too, but it's a lot of different personalities that are magnified. But going back into it with a firm spiritual foundation in myself, it was like I had a force field around me. Like literally all the attitudes, all the divas, all the stuff. It's like none of that stuff could touch me. But that was because I knew how to meditate. I knew how to like do proper breathing. I do my yoga. I know how to do center myself, and, I had an anchoring in myself. And so I would say that was really, the most recent high point, was being able to have that sort of protective bubble around me, and then being able to really offer something to people, on set. One of the best experiences, I'll just say real fast, in this film that I just finished called Alone Today with Eric Roberts, Danny Trejo, Shannon Elizabeth, Frank Whaley, directed by Wendy Wilkins. It's an amazing, amazing film that has to do with domestic violence, sex trafficking. I was talking to Eric Roberts' assistant behind the scenes, and, he's a kid, like 20 years old, like nervous energy, all that stuff. And we just started talking about breathing and all this other stuff. And so smash forward into the scene where I was doing the scene with him, his Eric Roberts, his boss. And this kid runs behind me, and he basically trips on something on the entire set and makes all this noise. And then he looks at me. He doesn't look at nobody else. He looks at me thinking about our conversation we had about breathing and not freaking out. And he just puts his hand on his belly. He doesn't say anything. He just signals that he's remembering to breathe. He's not going to freak out. And he just like centers himself. Like, to me, that was the best part, my highest moment on set, even more than Bad Boys 2, because I really was able to offer something that changed this kid's life, that he was able to take forward really for the rest of his life. So, that was my high and low point. And then what were you saying? You were asking something also about Bad Boys 2, but that was my high point, most recent.
Oh yeah, yeah. All I was saying with Bad Boys 2, man. Like, what what was the experience with that as well? Because that ties with everything you're saying with the highs and low points. With that movie specifically, what
Yeah.
was it like being on that set and basically being around some high profile people?
Yeah, I mean, back then and that was 20 years ago. That was exactly 20 years ago when we shot that in 2002. And then it came out in 2003, I think November 2003. And back then, I remember I was so nervous, like going into that role because it was so high profile. But then I I got into my acting game and everything with that. But Will was really great to work with. And Martin, I had to stay on my toes with Martin because he would improv. I'm like, oh, that's not in the script. I better roll with it. You know what I'm saying? Because, sometimes you just, feel things in the moment and you'll go with it. And then, Michael Bay, the director, was just like, just crazy. He was like, give me more of this anger and this, that, the other. And just. And so it was like, a part of it was like flying by the seat of my pants because I actually went in, but the character was written, I thought he was Jamaican. It was written in like patois, like Jamaican. And then I got in on the set and I realized, I was like, wait a minute, this is Miami. I'm like, wait a minute, this is Little Haiti here. I'm like, oh man, this character's not Jamaican. He's Haitian. It's totally different. Totally different, like, Jamaican and Haitians, nothing to do with each other. You know what I'm saying? Totally different accent, all that stuff. And so thank God I had some people there on set that were, helping with the Haitian accent. So I had to learn that, real fast on set as well. But that was amazing. I mean, even playing a bad guy, a villain, and shooting the guns and AK-47s and the fire, the blanks, but it fires like a real gun. And, it was fun. It was like a little boy growing up playing cops and robbers, just like we did when we were kids. I mean, it was such an adrenaline rush shooting those guns. And Will was amazing to work with. He's really, really a chill and great guy.
Once again, listen to Refocus Radio, talking to our guest today, the one and only Issa. You know him formerly as Kiko Ellsworth. But man, like, it's cool to talk to people like you because you've been in the dream of like a lot of people who are dreaming, if that makes sense, as far as like people who want to be an actor and be in Hollywood, like you've done it and you're still doing it. But you also have a program where you help men, and it's a mastery coaching program. What inspired you to start something like this? And what's the core values that you're trying to implement when guys are signed up for this program?
Yeah, that's beautiful, man. Really got into this. I started off working with women in the beginning of 2000, early 2000, for about 15 years, female empowerment. I was the vice president of a domestic violence nonprofit and self-empowerment, self-defense coordinator. And so I started off there, really understanding the struggle of females and the struggle of women and really doing what I can to contribute to empower them to take up energetic space, to be the fullness of who they are, man. Because let's face it, like, there's not one person, show me one person on this planet that doesn't come to this planet through the womb of the Divine Mother. Everybody comes through the womb of the Divine Mother, yet somehow the Divine Mother, our females, our sisters, our mothers, our daughters, are in a bad position on this planet with regards to how they're treated, how they're viewed, and so on and so forth. And that needs to change. And it is changing, but it also needs to change even more and bring back the understanding, the respect, the honor of the Divine Mother that's in all females. Like, we need to be bowing and kissing at their feet just for bringing us here on this planet. You know what I'm saying? And we all have our stuff to work on, things like that, but that doesn't take away from the fact that we owe honor and pay homage to being able to come here through the way that the Divine Mother sacrifices her body. So I started off in with the female empowerment, and then just growing the way I did, I had no idea who I am. I never felt like a man. I struggled in putting myself together and being a man. I struggled in being a husband. I failed my marriage. I couldn't show up emotionally and psychologically and, barely physically for the first 5 years of my daughter's life, even though I lived in the same house. Like, I was so fractured in my mind that I couldn't show up properly. And so when after I finally got it, after like a decade of like the meditation and really understanding who I was mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and put these practices in place, when I finally started like really getting a hold of myself, these women that I were training, they were like, this is great for me, but you got something for my husband because he needs to work with you. Like, I need help with him. And after hearing that enough, I was like, you know what? Maybe I think I should be working with guys. And then I really realized that being able to provide this service to a man, to brothers, mentoring younger men as well, to know how to show up as a man of God, a divine man, a holy man, because I believe there's a divine man, a holy man within every man. We just got to tap into it, right? When we know how to show up as a whole, healthy, happy man, when we show up in the household, that balances out the entire household. When the sun shines, like I look at men and women, like the woman's the moon and the man's the sun, right? The moon goes through its phases. You got a half moon, blood moon, all this other harvest, all these moons, right? But the sun is always the sun. It's always shining. It's always steady. You can always count on it. And if we model ourselves as men after the sun, learning how to keep ourselves stable and shining, and so that we can continue to give life no matter what, and that the moon and the children that can count on us to be that stability, that spiritual stability, that mental stability, that emotional stability, that physical stability, then we really start to step into our role. And so being able to do what I can to help men be that sunshine in their lives I saw that was the best service that I could provide. And that would affect those households, that would affect those communities, that would affect our nations and our countries and our entire world. So that's why I do this service that I'm so passionate about with men.
Once again, we're talking to Issei here on IME Focus Radio. And man, as we wrap up, I can't believe this is going so fast, man. But you have a quote where you say, once you have you have everything. For our audience, man, explain to them what that means and how they can apply that in their life.
Yeah, we live in an interesting world in some really interesting times right now. It can be very chaotic. It can be very confusing. It can be very violent. It can be peaceful. There's a lot of, different energies floating around in our world at high speed, especially with the technology. You have the internet, you have these phones, you got 5G, you have social media, everyone has a TV screen in their hand, where they can access any part of the world and any information that they want. It's easy to lose yourself. It's easy to lose ourselves in the distractions, in the bells and whistles of everything that's available to us, and if we lose ourselves too much and we don't give enough attention to the internal aspect of who we are, then pretty soon was like, well, how did I get way down here? And why am I doing this? And I have no idea, like my life doesn't serve a purpose. And why am I even working with this job? Or why am I with this person? Or am I even happy? I'm not even happy. Like, what am I doing? We'll be so far lost in left field that it just takes a lot of work to get back. So, the saying, once you have you have everything, really is the opposite of that. And it's my experience of once you get a hold of who you are on the inside, your heart, your soul, what you enjoy, what your yearnings are, why you incarnated here on the planet, like what you want to leave behind, what really matters most to you with your relations, with your family, your friends, what's your passions, like how you get up and making sure that you're filled up and how you go to sleep. Once you get those internal aspects dialed in, you start to have the power of you. It's really that simple. There becomes a power within you where you stop running around the rat race. You just stop chasing and looking for something outside of you. You stop even wanting to go to the club. You're like, because there's nothing out there. You're not compelled by this seemingly elusive attraction of the world. You're not looking for something that you can't even describe because you found it within you. And you're able to relax and you're able to be you and you're able to smile and shine the light that spirit put in you to shine. So once you have everything is the bringing together of that actual concept that you ain't got to go nowhere. You just got to go within.
You've been listening to I Am Refocused Radio, talking to our special guest today, Issei, formerly known as Kiko Ellsworth, an American film and television actor. Man, this episode felt like it was a masterclass in itself. Man, how can people stay in contact with you? Are you on social media?
Yeah. You can just check me out on social media, either on TikTok or Instagram, the IG. The handle for both of those is a divine man. And you'll find me there, and the link in the bio, you can see all my programs and things like that. We got a men's retreat coming up in December out in Joshua Tree. And, that's where we get to actually put in the work. About 40 guys put in the work over a weekend. And it's an amazing transformative experience. So if you're down for that, if you're ready to transform, jump on in, and we'd love to see you there.
Man, Issei, once again, I want to say thank you for taking time in your schedule, man, talking to I Am Refocused Radio. We know you're busy, so we appreciate your time.
Oh, man, it's my pleasure. Look, peace and prosperity and divine protection to all of you, my brothers and sisters. Just go within, learn to hear your intuition, learn to hear who you are, and let that guide you. Trust it, let it guide you, and you'll be all right. I love you. Thank you for having me, brother. I really appreciate you.